Shaun, one of the things we hear quite often is, I'm trying to take the timing out of my golf swing, or my timing doesn't feel right. Like, timing gets blamed for a lot in the golf swing, and it is actually important that you cannot take timing out of the golf swing.
Or the whole swing.
If you did, you'd be worse off for it. When you hear great players talk about it, they're coming in from a layoff. It's like, I'm getting my timing back. You do that in other sports as well.
Yeah.
So we're going to show you exactly what is timing in the golf swing, what to look for, how to train it so you can have really good timing in your golf swing. All right, so when we talk about timing in the swing, we're talking about what happens at the start of the backswing, what happens going into the top of the backswing, and then, very importantly, what happens in the downswing. So when we talk about timing for the golf swing, we're just talking about when things happen in the golf swing, right? And you can relate this to other sports. I'm going to throw you a ball, like, shoot a jump shot. I wouldn't go down as I shoot.
Exactly.
Right? So you could be making the actual right movements in your golf swing. They're not happening at the right time. Things start to fall apart very quickly.
Exactly. Mike makes a good point. Let's say I'm taking a basketball free throw shooting lesson, and I hear the person say, okay, got to bend your knees, go back up again, and then straighten your arm out and flick your wrist. Right. Well, if you don't give me when those happen and the sequence that happens, and that all kind of ties together, timing and sequence, I might bend my knees, shoot, and then go up.
Right.
Right? So my timing
did everything correct.
Exactly right.
When you do it is the key.
Exactly.
So you do not want to take timing out of the golf swing.
Can't.
You want to have good timing to your golf swing. That's just understanding when things happen. No more complicated than that. I think timing gets a bad rap when golfers trying to square the face right down at the bottom, man. That's not good.
No.
We're not talking about that.
Exactly right. And that's what everybody thinks about, the face being really open and having to flip it through. And that's obviously
not a timing issue.
Yeah, it's timing of the square of the face.
Right.
But you need to get a lot of things right before that. You can't just fix
It's actually
that.
because your timing was poor that you had to try to do it down here, which is where we're going in this video. All right, so early part of the backswing, there is a specific speed to this that professionals have that we don't see amateurs have.
This is a mind bender. If you've been taught like me over the years to go back low and slow, right? I mean, I had that lesson years ago. We probably all had it at one point, or we read it in a magazine or saw it in a video.
Yes, and there's always going to be exceptions to everything.
Yep.
In general, you're going to find that the professionals, they reach their maximum hand speed roughly at the midpoint of the backswing. Then it slows down into the top.
Right. And it makes sense, really, if you're swinging an object in space here, right? Mm-hmm. And now it's going to let it swing back and forth kind of freely and then change direction. It's going to get some speed early so it can die, and then it's going to speed up again.
Right. Because our goal is to change directions, right? We want to be able to create speed in the downswing. We see a lot of golfers actually you can kind of see the wheels turning and the positions they're trying to hit. So see it go back slow, go back slow, go back slow, go back slow, and then realize that, that they've got it, and then everything folds and bounces. Sometimes it'll actually bounce off the shoulder.
I've seen it. And that's a great point. You want the club to be dying up here. So if you don't pump some speed in early, you don't have enough momentum to give yourself enough energy up here to get things moving. You have to bounce it, and you don't want the club to be speeding up as it goes in the top, because I got to change direction somehow. It becomes way more difficult to do that.
Well, the whole goal of the golf swing really is to control and swing the mass, the weight of this club to our benefit. When it's going into the top and bouncing around, now the club is almost swinging you, and you're kind of at its mercy, and it never comes out of the same spot.
Exactly. And, the best way to feel that, and we've given this lesson to so many people, is get this club started here, right? Now, heel off the ground on the trail side, put the heel down, swing, and then you almost let the momentum of that die, and then you can change directions so much more efficiently.
The speed you want to feel kind of waist high to waist high.
In this drill.
Right? Yeah. I'm going to kind of start waist high again, heels up, step on it, swing it back, and then I'm letting just kind of coast into the top, because now I'm ready to start to add speed the other direction.
Yeah, if I want to get this moving fast early, I don't want it speeding up late, because I have to use a lot of energy to slow it down again. And normally when you do that, that's a lot of this casting motion.
It's a sequence killer.
Right? Exactly right.
Let's take a look at 5 recent tour winners. These guys are all built differently and have very different looking swings compared to one another. But when you look deeper than what their swings look like, you're going to see very similar things with regards to what we call pro timing. This is where player number 1 has reached his maximum hand speed in his backswing. his hands have accelerated from a dead stop at address to where he is right here. Then from here, his hands are slowing down over the rest of his backswing. Here's where our second winner hits his maximum hand speed. Here's where number 3 reaches his max hand speed. Here's player 4. And lastly, player number 5. If we go back and show you each of these guys again, you can see the window in which they hit their maximum hand speed in the backswing. And when we show this to golfers in lessons, what surprises them most, well, really 2 things. 1 is how small this window actually is, and 2, how early it happens in the backswing. And the reason they're surprised is because we often see amateur golfers not reaching their maximum hand speed until well after their lead arm is parallel with the ground in the backswing.
All right, so we've got the club moving away faster earlier in the golf swing, slowing down later, right? It makes sense. You see great players do that every time you watch them play. Now let's add to this the overall time amount that's in the golf swing. Okay, so from address to impact, roughly 1 second. It's a little less than 1 second, but we'll call it 1 second.
Yeah.
Okay. 3/4 of that 1 second is gone when you get to the top.
Right.
So the downswing, only a quarter of the golf swing left. Now, you're slowing down going into the top. The first couple feet is roughly half the downswing. Okay. So that's when things have got to be ramping up. That's why it's important to go into there with a little coast so you can come out of there in a good spot.
An easy way to think about the hand speeds involved when transitioning from backswing to downswing is to think like a race car driver approaching a hairpin turn. And if we zoom in on this pro golfer's hand path, that's exactly what it is. It's a hairpin turn at the top of the backswing. And the key for successfully negotiating a tight turn like a pro is to slow down going into the turn and then speed up coming out of the turn. And too often we see the exact opposite from amateur golfers.
Yeah, that makes a good point. We've had people come through and we'll measure them on gears. They come in for a half day, full day, whatever. And they've been trying to kind of keep their arms up, kind of passive, late, really don't add any speed early. The problem with that is if you want to get maximum club head speed to the ball, this speed has to ramp up really early. So if you're taking your time and waiting and maybe keeping your arms up, there's no time to get that early speed, and the speed will never get into the club head.
Right. Your max club head speed in the downswing should be roughly around
Hand speed.
Yeah. What did I say? Club head speed?
Yeah.
Hand speed should be roughly around kind of this middle downswing part. So you have time to transition that to the club head. If I'm slow, it'd be like you and I having a 100-yard race and me giving you a head start. Probably not a good idea if I want to rim brakes.
No, or even like the bobsled thing, right?
Right.
You want the guy immediately getting a ton of speeds early so he can jump in the car and thing can go. You don't want to be going slow down the track and the other guy's going to go past you.
Yeah, there's no magic that makes things go faster to the club. You've got to start putting that effort in early.
Now let's look at the timing of those same 5 winners we looked at before, only now in their downswings. This is where player number 1 reaches his maximum hand speed coming down. A couple things to note here. 1, the club head is still well above his head. Number 2, from this point forward to impact, his hands are slowing down as his club head is essentially doubling its speed. As we scroll through the rest of these players, you're going to see the very same accelerate, decelerate timing pattern we saw in the backswing segment. And if you'll recall, the window that these guys reached their maximum hand speed in the backswing was pretty small. Well, in the downswing, it's even smaller. A lot of golfers we've talked to over the years have told us their concept was that the hands and club head should be reaching their maximum speed right at impact. And that's partly true because the club should, but not the hands. The 3 big things we see players do that keep them from having this pro timing are number 1, too little speed early in the backswing. Think the old mantra, low and slow. And number 1 often leads to number 2, which is carrying too much speed too late into the top of the swing. And then number 3, the final problem concept we see from golfers that ruin professional timing is trying to be passive with the arms at the start of the downswing.
And that goes back to, again, you're just lowering, straightening as you turn, getting those things in order. Now, what will undo that is if you come into the top, bouncing the club around, because you'll start to cast, you'll start to extend the arms too early, and all that will go out the window.
Yeah, and when you're watching your swing on video, a great thing to look at is this thing should really kind of be real settled up here. It shouldn't be flopping around. It
Does
should,
David like to say for that?
like you can hang clothes on it, basically.
Right.
Like
Put your laundry on
it
there.
just gets up there, real settled in. It doesn't bounce around too much. It's not, you can see too much momentum in the top because it goes like that,
Yeah.
right? So it's really kind of dying and gathering, so you can ramp things up really early. And when you pull on it, the club comes with you,
That's exactly.
right? If I pull on this and it's bouncing, the thing has a tendency to go all over the place.
It's going to go all, yeah, it's literally going to come out of a different spot every time. Makes it tough to be consistent that way. All right, so now we're kind of coming out of the top. We're getting some hand speed early. That's starting to ramp up. Now roughly a left arm parallel to impact. Care to guess how long that takes?
I think we've done this before. It's 0.08 seconds.
Yeah, roughly about a 3/4 of a tenth of a second.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
very fast. Now, to drive how quickly that happens home, pull out your phone, open up your stopwatch on your phone, and with one finger, don't cheat trying to do two fingers. With one finger, try to start and stop that stopwatch in less than 0.8, or try to 0.08 seconds.
Right. 0.08.
0.08, not 0.8,
Yeah,
0.08.
0.08. So tap, tap, see what the number is. Tap, tap, give it 2 or 3 tries. Post your best result in the comments.
In the
below.
comments down below.
We want to see if anybody can actually do it because it's fast.
Right. And as you're doing that, think about all of the things that you've been trying to do in your golf swing below left arm parallel, and see if all that jives with how difficult it is to stop that stopwatch.
If you've got 3 swing thoughts from here to the ball, your brain can't even send a signal that fast. Right? To make all those things. So you want to be real sure you've got things very settled and where they should be about right here. So then you can just unwind and be athletic, right? From there, we're just hitting. We don't want to be thinking about 10 different things from there to the ball. A, you can't do it anyway. And B, if you're having to do all that, you probably didn't get the club in a good spot here in the first place.
A's the biggest part. You can't do it anyway. So that kind of drives the point home, like all of the work, when we look at professional golfers compared to amateurs, the bulk of their work is done by that point. That's usually when most amateurs are trying now to start doing things.
Exactly.
Again, it goes back to the free throw analogy. You can do all the pieces. When you do them, really make or breaks quality of your golf swing.
Hey guys, we hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did enjoy it, go ahead and give it a like. Also, if you have any questions about today's video, or you have an idea of a video that you want us to shoot, go ahead and leave it in the comments below. We read every single comment. We also respond to the comments. So again, leave us a comment if you have any questions or there's anything you'd like to see. Now, if you haven't already, click the subscribe button. We have videos coming out every single week and we don't want you to miss one. So by clicking subscribe, that ensures you're notified right away when a new video comes out. And hey, if you want to add instant distance to your drive, and we all do, everybody wants more distance, go ahead and click the link in the pinned comment below. You're going to see a link. Click on it. It's going to take you to a page. You're going to enter your name and email address. We're going to send you an email where you're going to get access to instant distance, which is a video training that we put out. We know it's going to help you. We know we're going to see you farther down the fairway.